Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. That's right, the Mud Flood, the Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else. Well, unless the Stones are crying out. I put the Stones on hold for a while till I thought we got a pretty good handle on the Bible. And the Titans, that's better than the 15th. It all worked out. We're going to be going over the helical heart. RJ will be popping in. He's taking care of some family business. I really hope you stick around, Victoria, our good friend, and welcome Nikki Whistler. There's a new content provider. I think it's Joe Whistler. I don't know, Nikki, if you know Joe Whistler, but hey, let's look at some of this stuff. Half hour late. I did all I could do today. I give all praise and glory to Lord Jesus Christ, Creator, by whom you exist and all things consist. Colossians chapter 1. You ever have to jump through their hoops, right? Like for this one, I'm going to be showing some other videos, sampling them for our educational fun. And, being a guy that is hey, it's the end of the world, you come on, cut me some slack. So what is the helical heart? I'm going to wait to show the pictures till 300 years ago. Well, that's when Satan was loosed in the real world. They've been thinking of the heart. This one person, Paco Torrent Guasp, and I am called Paco mostly because in honor of Dr. Guasp.
Understanding of the human heart has changed little in over 300 years. Now, new insights into the structure and function of the heart will change forever the way we view it.
Ooh, that's a tease. So these people are going to introduce Paco.
William Harvey discovered the circulatory system.
He's Dr. Paco. I'm the artist Paco.
When Harvey came along in 1628, he, for the first time, really led people to understand very clearly that this was a pump introduced in...
Oh, see? Right at the end of the golden age. It took Paco 40 years from the time he was a graduate student to get the standing ovation he deserved for sticking with it.
Also in the Department of Anatomy. And I started making dissections, and I was during 25 years making dissections. And I remember that
40
all these anatomical facts I saw, they were like a puzzle.
It is a puzzle. It's the Gordian knot. I don't believe I'm the first one who figured it out. I'm the one who the Lord pointed in the right direction through just the most amazing thing. So basically, we may come back to this if there's any questions about it. This guy was a doctor invited to a symposium, and he to this day talks about how blown away he was.
It has its conduction that I understood is probably not accurate. And in fact, the heart's a rope. And I think that I heard something like that, and I said, that's really amazing. I can't believe it. But he then showed us exactly how the heart was formed and had reduced it in the simplest possible category. And I said, that's truly amazing, because he had...
And it's a good thing, right? When RJ gets in, we can say they kept it simple because, hey, I'm pretty smart, but I'm a warehouse manager, athletic director, volleyball, basketball coach is how I made my living, not a doctor. But I have been into the Bible for, wow, all my life.
Dissected segments of the heart, and he showed us that his concept of a rope was very appropriate.
The ventricular band, as described by Torrent Guasp, is divided into two loops by a fold at its center. The basal or outer loop and the apical loop, which forms the apex of the heart. The right segment of the basal loop, which runs from the
Is
pulmonary
this getting boring? Because don't let it get boring. This is exciting. Look at
nature. You can see it in the patterns of seashells, in the growing flower buds of a daisy. A ram's horn gets its strength from the spirals within spirals of its architecture. The spiral is a common formation at every scale of
and it's like
nature.
the eyeball.
In a phylogenetic study of the heart,
That's a
Torrent
worm.
Guasp theorized that the heart began as a worm over 1 billion years ago.
What?
A worm
Paco?
has no
He's
pump or vessels. It is
But you can't be right about everything, you know. You got to just take it, keep it simple, rock on.
And I saw the heart, normal human heart, working.
See how it.
And when I saw this,
The heart is the swastika swastika, intake, outtake, bad blood, clean blood, bad air, good air. Paco, I didn't know you were an evolutionist, but what, you know, you're a product of what you were taught.
this imaging, then the light came to my brain, and then I realized
Jesus is the light. So get it. We're going to be looking at the heart, and you need to slow it down.
now, for the first time in
See
history,
that bottom? Remember this when it,
muscle contraction
because I'm
of the
going to show
right
you a
free wall
picture of it,
increases
and I
and
smoothed
spreads
it
to the
out
free
to make
wall
it
of the
look.
left ventricle.
I'm going to say
Now, both free
exactly
walls of the
like a
ventricles,
heart,
which make
because
up
it
the
is a
basal loop,
heart.
are fully contracted.
Basal loop, basal loop.
Next, the encircled region defines the area of the apical loop, which begins to contract after the basal loop has contracted. The white, red, yellow
I
clover-like
wonder
area
if
shows
this
the septum beginning to contract. Soon, the whole encircle
Where
across the
is that
band,
one part?
just as Torrent Guasp had theorized. Many call it the cardiac dance, the twisting, pulsing
Yeah, the
rhythms of this
cardiac dance.
50 years. Torrent Guasp's revolutionary and evolutionary concept of the heart was almost complete when a new nuclear imaging technique was employed to look at the contractions of the heart. Called a mugascan, isotopes along the heart are excited and change colors when the heart muscle contracts.
You'll see that the muscle probably changes color also. I want you to keep an eye out for that small detail, man. And this electrical spot, where we're looking at, this part falls off. We won't be seeing this, but well, you'll get it. All of these parts get broken off.
Examining electrophysiological and functional data, Dr. Cox and his group calculated the delivery of the impulse throughout the ventricular.
So we'll see this, you know, these almost exactly like that. A couple more shots.
With understanding the nature of how the loops twist and untwist, you understand.
You'll see it in a rock.
The first thing you understand is how the heart ejects and fills by suction. And the second thing you realize, if that anatomy is changed, as we can also see in MRI, where the ventricle becomes spherical, the capacity to twist and eject and untwist and suck is lost. So the patient with heart failure can't twist very well, and therefore he can't increase his output of his heart to be able to work, and he gets tired.
So basically they're killing the people because they don't know what they're doing. Oh, I hope I didn't go too far with that one. Now, this just is what the stone is going to look at. This vortex cordace at the bottom. It's so hard to smooth, but there is some blood vessels that run through it that, you know, you'll be able to see. Look for how, and remember, the glittering sword hits the water. Their flesh gets zapped in an instant. Now, every single Titan human heart beating mammal is going to have a different time that their heart is beating. So it will be, we'll find them in all sorts of contractions. That's a given. And we'll find them in all sorts of repentance, because I believe that the ones that have the gold, the silver, the gemstones, they were ones that while they were running, because it doesn't say anybody drowned in the flood, it says that they perished. And I believe they were hit with the glittering sword. We can do a Bible study on that. Barak, the lightning sword, the arrows, the spear. But you're electric, you're a vortex, you're into it. Welcome, everybody. So there it is, right there. Here's another. This is actually it. And when we see my pictures, you'll see this little nub sticking up. And I had to grind it off, but you won't care. Debunking ancient Israel? That's just something I was listening to while I was getting a heart. So when you search the heart blood flow, you'll see in, out. They still think it's a pump. But let's look at this one. We're basically dealing with where my mouse is outlining. These other accoutrements to the heart, they mostly fall off, and we're left dealing with, what you can hold in your hand. And did you know, according to the 3rd chapter of 1 Corinthians, you are a living stone? You can build it up. I wonder if I could get any cool, what are those animated GIFs that sometimes they're kind of cool. Aren't they supposed to move? Well, what kind of GIF is this? This one's moving. So that's it. And remember, all of these fall off, but there's still a lot of blood vessels and things that are very traceable. And I've found these parts. Now, tonight's, we're going to be going over these stones, but, in the past, you can take apart the stones with acid. Was it closer? Well, these are some other heart stones. Now, that's what these things are sticking out of it. But let me go down and just give you a good example. Just take you a heartbeat. You're already here. You don't want to click off, because then you'll think, oh, then I missed it. I know I had some stones in here. They're right around here. The brains, the stones. Wow, I made so many videos. Well, this is torturous even for me, begging your pardon. I should have just kept rolling with what I've got, because I've got pictures of the hearts pulled up. Let me get rid of that one. Here's one right here. You can see this was a video I made for Stellium 7 before he went with the new ABCs. Anything but Christ. He wanted to find any answer that could exclude the Bible, but this is a heart that has all the what I called accoutrements, and it's locked onto what we're going to be seeing me file down.
Flat Earth Nation. It is a flat Earth nation. Don't let them to stones and things, but Stellium 7, Mike, is presenting. And Mike, I want, to show you what I think is, because the heart will be whatever it's going to be. Pulmonary artery,
So this is a special heart. I always am glad I
not always
made this video and shared it.
And then finally,
this is Stellium 7
here.
talking.
This is, I believe, one of the best.
Oh, this is actually Web Danubi being shared by Stellium 7. And Web Danubi was really into it for a while.
Mud fossil / flood fossil hearts specimens that I've ever seen.
You know what? It is a good one. It would be better if you do what I did tonight and cleaned it off and showed it to him.
And of course, my question that I asked you last week.
And then along this line is what's known as the coronary sulcus. So if you look at the atrium and the ventricle, there's a fatty portion that sits right there on the sulcus line where the coronary sulcus is. So already that's how many coincidences? The fact that it's got a fleshy color, but it's the oh wait, I just want to show one last one.
And so is that quartz? Is that like what we call quartz?
Yeah.
So here's a list of them.
I already knew that there were some chambers inside because I could see them with the next.
He calls it the Mike Wilkerson scale. He learned it on the phone from RJ and I. RJ and I were working on stones, drilling them with diamond bits. And he did make the list. It's the overall heart shape, color, flesh, the marbling, the pericardium. You won't be seeing that today. Atrium, ventricles where they should be, the aorta where it should be, the vena cava. All of these things will be visible. Number 25, remember, keep your heart soft. He was teaching the autodidactic all about it. That's my algorithm. I was watching the storm because I said this would be the year in a prophecy, a rare prophecy, that the United States was bankrupt. And it started 8 months ago, February 4th, on a storm that I even showed where it would hit.
But on the coastline too, you have wind gusts that could be topping 60, 70.
So it looks like my target was pretty much right on the money. And who knows what's going to happen with this storm, not only the rest of today, which will be the start of the work.
Yeah, it's going to get saturated there, yeah.
It is.
Miles per hour. Think how rough and.
But anyway, in this hour and 32-minute things, I give about 5 minutes of like, oh yeah, and it's going to lead our country into bankruptcy because the storms are going to continue here and around the world. Hollywood's is Satan's throne. So my goodness, thank you for your patience. Now, the idea is, I'm going to show a couple of these here. The reminder of this one, this is what you're going to be looking for. And the bottoms are particularly touchy. Now, where are those videos that I made? So this is the stone before it gets cleaned that I'm going to be showing you. That's a heart stone. This is that little part that just flips up that I said, I had to cut that off and grind it down. But you can even see as here, there's, the tracing, that there's the succulus. Here's that bottom, that is where it's going to be folded on itself.
On your Flat Earth Nation, the artist Salt Paco
has proven this is reserved in judgment by the glittering sword, a helical heart, and doing nephorensics, which is forensics on these rocks. I have shown in the past and will show with this one that as I smooth this off, I'm going to be able to identify every little succulus. Not tonight. A lot harder than I thought, even with my new machine. I'll probably cut that off, but I did show what it was attached to. And I'll be pointing out that, you know, every aspect of them, the rock, you know, they're in a condition they are because something happened to them. You can believe. I think I'm going to say you can believe in the geological explosion where all hearts ended up being able to be explained away as ropes, helical hearts, or, you know, but that's not going to work because then that would lead you to hopefully trust in Jesus Christ. The geological record that this exploded numerous times and formed like this, and then you'll have to be one of the coincidence people. That just can write off all of the examples that I'll show you that this was probably, let's see, as a right ventricle, or this would be nice left job. Ventricle, right ventricle. Nice job of pointing at the sidewalk. Top will display, you know, where it would have been sitting, knowing what Paco Torrent Guas, the doctor who discovered the helical heart, since Satan has been loose, I'm sure they knew all about it back in the day. But that's my assignment, is I'm going to, you know, and I may have to, you know, cut off some of these to get at this with my saws. This, let's see, there's a couple of tricky spots. The one that you'll be able to see. All right, here's a couple of finished products for now, enough to present. This is the one heart. This one you've seen before. To get some pictures, they both share the helical heart patterns. So let's name some body parts. I was still optimistic that I would have enough energy to get out an anatomy book tonight. Well, these are the veins that run here. You can see it's kind of flat, you know, but remember, this is going down to the bottom and you can see it ends here. Now, this one is heading down to the bottom, and as you remember, it flips around and seals on the bottom here. And when I show you the bottom, you'll be able to see that there's a room for a vein and an artery. All of these little marks here, you know, that was a blood vessel or a vein, possibly a capillary. All of these have a reason that, oh, it's in between the meat. And of course, the you know, this would be your fat, you know, so, you know, it would be like you're marbling. You can see how they're sectioned here. Folding over. It said as it folded, it changes the colors. It at least it does in the electric spectrum, and that's what we're dealing with here. Another picture where you can You know, that one's just on a different angle. I wanted you to kind of zoom in here and see that not only, you know, this is attached, it's just going to be spinning a different way. When you saw Dr. Guasp unfolding the hearts, you know, it's a process. You have to unwind it with your fingers, you know, this part. You know, that exploded, or that's just one of those little folding spots. It's one of the folding spots. It's the simplest answer. Now here's, you know, the other side. So here you get to see, okay, it really is. It's spinning like a spinning top. And what do we see over here? Any, you know, this is just a flat piece, but there's still where veins and arteries have to run through it. Blood vessels, returns. Now, this is the one that, the new one, you know, I'm not ready to put these on, you know, where the blood returns would be, but that's a pretty safe bet. This would have been ripped off. This was what the accoutrements that would have been attached right here, you know, to give it to it. Now, I don't know what that blue reflection is. It's on there a couple of times, but that saw, what a good investment. How about that? From what you saw to marbled stone that, and there's the bottom of that vortex. A little close up of, you know, and if you rubbed your finger on that, it'd be smooth. So these are the vein, you know, the blood supplies that lead to it, that, you know, the heart spins around it, and plus it's flushing nutrients into a Titan's heart. This is something too, as it's running for its life saying, oh, I can't believe Noah is right. Everybody would have known. He preached for 100 years. The marbling of the helical heart, again, the accoutrements would have been attached here. Blood supplies. The one that you see is red, I'm probably going to split that one and show it. But then again, you know, there has to be a reason for that. It was it a geological earthquake, volcano, and this rock just, oh, you know, it should have zero coincidences with a helical heart. And yet, there's gold, silver, and precious stones, and these rocks that are crying out. Look at that. That is a high polish right there. I'm excited about some of the murals I'm going to be making. I'm going to put some of these rocks, you know, there's another one right there. Paracord bracelets with rocks in them. Here you can see the lines running another way on the other side. This is the more busy side with these are the two veins that would come down in the heart and meet here where, you know, this probably is where the left and right, you know, come out the bottom. But this was a dirty rock. And now it's art, explaining and telling a story that all of these matched up with something else. You can see the different types of meat. You can almost see the little blocks here, like in the stone that is more red and bluish, of how, you know, it's sectioned like that with different colors. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different diet. Everybody has a different level of repentance. Everybody's going to have different level of gold, silver, and precious stones. but they're there for you. Different colors for a reason, going different ways. Look at how perfectly these things fit. The skin, the pericardium of the heart is like this, the width of a dime, maybe even slightly less. And the pressure that would have to go through this if it was pumping instead of a natural magnetic vortex powered swastika, 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 swastika. It's why everybody loved it. It's why everybody knew that's what was going on. And this had it, real human blood coming in and out. So these are the bad guys. I've been telling you, it's the mafia, the Rosicrucians, the Roman Catholic Church. They're all working together specifically in our area, our neck of the woods, United States, Canada, and Mexico. It's the Jews and the Italians, mafias. I'm saying that because it's true, and I'll prove it in court. Whatever. They did it. But for the most of the world, it's the Chinese and the Japanese mobs and the Korean mobs. You ever heard of the Russian mob? Ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot going on in this world today. RJ, I did not know you were here, brother. I apologize so much. I didn't hear you click in.
Well, like I said, I would be tardy. I got here 13-minute mark, and then I waited to the 21-minute mark. So
Okay.
11 minutes ago or something.
Well, I appreciate you showing up. Anything you want to add? I mean, you saw most of the deal. I mean, it's the same pictures. I think they turned out pretty good.
Yeah, not to take away of what you've exhibited here. Very nice, but it's been over a couple years when I brought that one from the farm. Just this is I don't have it oiled up anymore. Right here in my hand.
Yeah.
And then splitting it. Where when I hit that little void, in the interior, and then the half, where, again, to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That succulent. Yeah. It's in there because it was in the middle of a heartbeat. That's why that is there.
And it's solid, heavy, but it's to the dimensions, it's just over 12 inches that direction, and then just under 9 inches the other way, and then the thickness must be a little over 4-5 inches, and it's a pretty good size stone. But when it's oiled up, you can see a lot of that detail that you've polished on what you have. But nothing like the caliber of the one when I brought the 4-inch core drill out, or core saw, the saw.
They're out there, we can find them that have those patterns and magnify them. The idea, though, is that, granted, there's less than a dozen people watching us, but RJ, we took some time off on the stones, but I feel like we got the Bible right. And it does come down to people are going to have to understand the difference between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. And the reason that I'm leaning towards establishing a church that's called Cone, the Church of Natural Earth, because we are made from the dust of those titans.
Oh yeah.
So I hope that people stick around and would like to study on that, because that's where this is going. That's where this has always been leading. And the one chain with the anchor that was dragging us down is, how long did I fight before I said, okay, there's no Trinity? 3 years? I mean, it was a long time. But, you know, I think the Bible is straight now. We've got the Titans figured out. I'll be so glad when this election is over so we can start looking forward to the midterms, because that's the one that's going to be the most important election of all time, the next midterm. Why does anybody even care about this election and the setup of Kamala? Because there's no way she can rescue our debt. I mean, who is she? Morgana the sorceress going to whip up a spell and ta-da! Here's a pearl worth $35 trillion. Wow! Glad I voted for her. I'm not going to vote for anybody. We got another month of this, RJ. Well, not quite, but
Yeah.
But I'm so happy. I mean, I'm pretty tired. I got some white chicken chili on there in the crock pot where I bought a chicken to throw in there. Should be good. RJ, in the morning, I'm off, going to do some more. That one red rock that I was showing, and you mentioned when you asked, you were like, oh, good, you did some. And I'm there, yeah, man. And you go, did you split them? And I'm like, no, I just polished them. But I'm thinking about splitting this one, and just seeing, because it's pretty much, it's a size I think I can handle with my equipment, And I think I might quarter it, cut it long ways.
Well, yeah, I did mine with that 14-inch saw blade, and the one you had in Colorado where I took the 4-inch, hole saw to it, where you could see the
I think I know where a piece of that rock is. What did I call that? I had a name for that rock.
That thing was huge. I mean, that was probably 6 times the one that I just held up. That had been over a couple feet. Yeah, that thing was huge.
Well, I'm going to let the people go. I'm going to thank them for their patience. It took me a while to get to the rocks, but anybody that made it this far, I hope you like it, subscribe, and do all of that stuff, because there's no stopping this now. I've got a little bit of equipment. I've got water on my mind. We're separated water from water and on dry ground, and that's the anomaly of all time, because basically we're dealing with a god, El Elyon, that's a spirit, and we're going to be in spirit world for the most. But now there's flesh that's going to be fit into the chief cornerstone. We'll get it all hashed out manana. Any final words, brother?
Yeah, the water molecule isn't nearly as simplified as what they'd like you to think it is. I mean, that's like ether.
It's 2 parts hydrogen and some oxygen. Sure, got it. Okay, no problem. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. It's a Flat Earth Nation. As always, the golden age is past because mud flood was Armageddon. Me, my friends, never going to tell you anything else. Why would we? We're trying to prove that we're 1, called 2, chosen, 3, being faithful to have your best interest at heart, because we love you like the Rock of Ages. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakame. That just basically says